Woodworking as a cost structure, not a hobby. Most people treat furniture as a purchase decision. A table breaks, a shelf feels unstable, a cabinet doesn't fit, and the default response is to buy a replacement. The process looks simple, but it repeats over years. Browse, compare, pay, deliver, assemble, replace. What makes this expensive is not one purchase, it is the pattern. Furniture is often bought as a reaction to a need, under time pressure, with limited choices. Over time, that becomes a hidden household cost. Small upgrades, quick fixes, good enough pieces that fail early, and repeated spending on the same categories. Woodworking changes the pattern because it shifts the decision from which item do I buy to which project do I build. That is a different system. It introduces planning, materials, and repeatable construction steps. It also changes what value means because the output is not only the object, it is the ability to create objects on demand. The format, project plans as a repeatable system. This product exists primarily as a digital collection of woodworking plans. The plans are the core object, not a single course, not one blueprint, but a structured library. In practical terms, a plan library functions like a reference tool. Instead of searching forums, downloading random PDFs, or trying to interpret incomplete diagrams, a user interacts with a consistent format, a project category, a selected plan, and a fixed sequence of steps. The library structure matters because most woodworking mistakes are not caused by effort. They come from uncertainty, missing measurements, unclear joinery, incomplete materials lists, or instructions that assume professional tools. When that happens, a project becomes guesswork, and guesswork becomes waste. A standardized plan format reduces that uncertainty by keeping the process stable across projects. How the plans are typically used. The interaction pattern is usually the same. A person starts with a need, a table, shelves, storage, a bench, outdoor furniture, a small structure, or a custom-sized piece that retail options don't match. Instead of beginning with a shopping trip, the process begins with selection. The user chooses a project plan that matches the function and the available space. From there, the routine becomes mechanical. Review the project steps, check the cutting and materials list, prepare tools and workspace, execute the build in sequence, assemble, finish, and place. This turns woodworking into a repeatable workflow. The plan is the anchor. The plan holds the measurements, the cuts, and the order of operations in one place. Why the cutting and materials lists change the economics. One of the biggest sources of wasted money in DIY projects is purchasing the wrong materials, purchasing too much, or realizing late in the build that a missing component requires a second trip and a second purchase. A detailed cut list and materials list reduce the decision load before the build begins. It shifts work from improvisation to preparation. That matters because woodworking costs are often not obvious up front. A project can become expensive when mistakes force rebuying wood, changing hardware mid-build, or restarting sections after a wrong cut. When the plan format specifies what to buy and what to cut, it becomes easier to control the variable that most people struggle with, waste. Multiple views and step-by-step sequencing. Many plans online rely on a single drawing and assume the builder will infer the structure. That works for experienced woodworkers who already recognize how joints, angles, and assemblies behave. For beginners, a plan that assumes knowledge creates friction. The builder pauses, searches, second guesses, and eventually abandons the project. A plan format that includes step-by-step sequencing and multiple views changes that. It reduces interpretation. It reduces the amount of figuring it out that causes delays and errors. In practice, the benefit is not that building becomes effortless, it is that building becomes predictable. Routine preference, workshop projects versus repeatable builds.
Some people approach woodworking like a series of experiments. They enjoy adjusting the design, choosing materials on the fly, and learning through trial and error. That approach can be rewarding, but it also produces higher costs and more unfinished projects. Other people prefer a routine with low uncertainty. They want a stable sequence. Choose a plan, follow steps, finish the build, move to the next project. This plan library supports that second style. It turns woodworking into a repeatable routine rather than a new problem each time. This matters if the goal is saving money, because savings require consistency. A one-time build is satisfying, but the financial impact comes when the process repeats across multiple projects over months and years. Access model and continuity. The access model described here is straightforward, a one-time purchase that provides lifetime access to the plan library through a member area, along with additional plans released over time. From a usage standpoint, this creates continuity. The plans become a long-term reference rather than a short-term download. A person can return to the library whenever a new need appears: storage, furniture, outdoor items, workshop upgrades. The more often a plan library is used, the more it functions like a tool, not just information. Closing. This is not the kind of product that depends on a single wow moment. Its value is mechanical, whether clear plans reduce confusion, reduce waste, and make projects easier to finish. If you're interested in the structure, what's included, how the plans are organized, and what access looks like, there's a link in the description where you can review the full package details. No pressure, just information in case it fits what you're trying to build.